Welcome back to Elevate from Burnout to Bliss. I'm your host, Reggie.
And I'm Ebony.
And today we're going to be talking about why people are silently drowning financially, emotionally, and mentally trying to maintain an image of success.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked around and thought, everyone seems to be doing better than me?
Everybody's traveling, buying houses, posting luxury dinners, designer bags, perfect families, perfect businesses.
But behind a lot of those pictures are maxed out credit cards, anxiety, burnout, debt, pressure, and people trying to survive emotionally.
Today we're talking about the cost of keeping up those appearances, because sometimes the most expensive thing you can buy is an image.
And in this season of Elevate, we want people to stop living for optics and start building lives that actually bring peace and financial freedom.
So whether it's lifestyle pressure, social media comparison, overcommitting financially, or pretending that everything's okay when it's not, this conversation is for you.
It's time to elevate.
Let's do it. All right, y'all, we are back at it once again. And today's title, as you heard in the intro, I'm very excited about this.
Me too.
We're going to talk about the cost of keeping up appearances. The cost of keeping up appearances. I'm going to tell y'all right off the bat, we're going to challenge you, some of the listeners today, to stop performing and start living authentically. And one of the reasons, just real quick, Ebony, one of the reasons I'm excited about this episode is because I'm intentionally going to step on some toes. I'm just telling y'all right now.
I'm sure you're
I'm
very
going to
excited
stomp
about
on some
that.
toes today.
And because the thing is, looking successful and actually being successful are two different things.
Okay, hold on. Say that again.
Looking successful and actually being successful are two different things.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how you look. What do the numbers say? What do you tell yourself on the inside? Because each person gets to define their definition of success.
That's true. Before we go really deep into it, I want to tie why we chose this topic into our overall arching thing. So everybody knows, the people that listen to us, you know that this podcast is about going from burnout to bliss. When Evan and I were talking about it, we were talking about different things that causes this burnout, right? And we've explored in these, we're in season 3 now, we've explored different reasons of why people feel burned out. But we realized we never talked about this today.
We have not.
We've not tackled this one, and we're going to. And like Ebony just mentioned about the difference between looking successful and being successful, I want to start even before we get there and just talk about appearances.
Okay.
I want to talk about appearances and why do appearances matter so much in our culture and in our society? Why do appearances matter so much?
So when we don't get to know someone personally, we feel like we have to have an insight into who they are, and the only way for us to do that is by appearances.
Yep.
So we don't know them intimately,
Right.
but we look at what we can see and then come up with who they are and how they are as a person, and just kind of piece their life together.
And we feeling a lot of missing gaps.
Yeah.
We feeling missing gaps, because we often want to fast track relationships.
Right.
We basically, going off what we see, we associate the value of the person with what we can see. So we are coming up with a value associated with their success, with their intelligence level, even their happiness, based solely on what we see.
Right.
We don't know them that well yet. And then we will take that assessment, which is full of assumptions, and we'll make additional
assumptions.
Yeah, we'll make additional decisions about this person based on this image of what we see.
So basically, we are creating our own image of someone else and then making decisions on how we interact with that person based on the person that we created.
Correct.
Them to be versus who they actually are.
Off the image that they presented.
Exactly, because we have not had a chance to get to know who they actually are.
Absolutely. So socially, many people feel the pressure to prove that they're doing well, even when they're struggling behind the scenes, because not everybody, but most people are conforming to this false narrative of reality. And so that's why that we've come to a place now where appearances matter so much, again, in our culture and in our society. So I want to talk about the pressure of having to look successful in an industry that is based on your financial success. And I'm talking about myself right now.
Okay.
I remember you all back early in my career of launching this business. Let's be real. None of you all want to do business with or name your financial advisor is a person that appears to be struggling financially.
Right.
So when you talk about, and I'm going to tell you, unless a financial advisor just come for money, when they first starting out, 9 times out of 10, they're struggling financially.
Definitely.
I can promise you that. So it was an added pressure of trying not to show that to the general public while at the same time build a financial planning practice.
And look, can I interject for
please,
a second?
yeah.
And part of the reason why, if there's a financial planner that did not come for money, why they struggle financially when they first get started, is because even though they're a financial planner by trade, they're still starting a business or starting a practice.
Starting a business or practice.
So just like you wouldn't expect a new business to be profitable day one, it's like that for financial advisors as well.
Yeah, so it was a whole added layer of pressure outside the normal starting your business and grinding out. It was a whole added layer of pressure of you also got to look like you already successful. That was tough. That was tough. And what's crazy is now is I really don't care as much about, the look or what have you. But anyway, a lot of things have changed financially for us. But I don't know. It's crazy how that works.
It is. And there's room for that. I mean, you shouldn't completely say, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care about my appearance. Because there is room for that. I don't want to go to a hairstylist and her hair is always a mess.
Right.
So there are instances where you should be concerned about your appearance, but you shouldn't basically create this facade in order to impress other people. Exactly.
You just said something. We're going to jump right there. You said some people, I don't care what, you use the phrase, I don't care what people think about fill in the blank, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I want to talk about that. When people say, I don't care what people think, that is a lie. That is a lie. And I don't care who says you're not telling the truth. Everybody cares what someone else thinks. Mm-hmm. Now, you may not care what a specific group of people think, or you may not care what this one person thinks, but there's always somebody you're concerned about what their thoughts are of you. So what we're talking about today is how to manage that instead of just acting like it doesn't exist.
Right.
Because what has happened is we got too many people caring about too much, and it's controlling people's lifestyle, and it's causing them burnout. So don't lie to other people. Don't lie to yourself saying you don't care what anyone thinks, because that's just not the case.
So, Reggie, you mentioned lifestyle. What about performance living?
Ooh, there's a rise of performance living. So you may say, well, what is performance living? That's basically when a person begins living more for appearances, like we're talking about right now, approval, perception, than they are for a genuine purpose, peace, or fulfillment.
Wow.
Like that's what you're living for. And I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to give you 6 ways. I'm going to give you 6 ways to know if you're caught in performance living. Here's number 1. Do you buy things to impress others rather than because you truly need or value them? That's just one. You may say no to that one. Okay, cool. I got another one for you. Do you stay in a career that you hate because the title looks successful?
Interesting.
Do you pretend everything is fine while struggling emotionally or financially? If so, you might be caught in performance living. What about number 4 here? Constantly seeking validation through social media, status, or external recognition. This is the person who, I'm finna get you. I'm finna step on some toes. This is the person that posts day 1 of the workout. Okay, I'm serious. Day 1 of the. Now, hey, if you're hitting it, you're doing your thing. Eventually, we gonna see it. Everybody gonna see it. You're gonna get your accolades. Now, you may say, well, dang, man. Well, I'm just telling you. This is when you're seeking validation before the rewards even really come. No job pays you day 1.
You want a cookie for getting started.
Yeah, exactly. Day 1 of the PhD. I'm going to have my PhD in 3 years. I went to class today. This is day 1. All right, well, just hold tight on that post, and we'll see you at graduation. But anyway, number 5, you feel pressure to keep up with peers, family, or online lifestyles. We're going to dig so much deeper. I hope we had a time to dig as far as I want to dig. But I do want to say this right now. If you don't remember nothing else we say today, remember this. Social media is not real.
It's not.
It's not real. People post their absolute best day on social media.
It's curated perfection.
Yes. And then here you are sitting back looking at all these people on your friends list best day over and over again, wondering why all your days don't look like all these people's one best day.
Right, because you're comparing your real life
Right.
to someone's highlight reel.
To everybody's. It ain't even just one person.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody's highlight reel. And then again, this feeds into your burnout.
Because you're trying to recreate what you see.
Right. And you wonder why my life not looking like this.
Right.
Theirs ain't looking like it either. All right. That's the reality of it. Here, and the last one I got, number 6, if you tie your self-worth to how others perceive you. All right. Basically, you cannot trust another person's perception of you to handle your self-worth. It's called self-worth. It's what do you think of yourself? You cannot trust that to another individual. No one's going to handle that as fragilely as you need that to be handled. All right, so don't tie your self-worth to other people's perception of you. Now, I will say this, other people's perception of you can become your reality, but it should not become your self-worth.
Right.
All right?
That reminds me of in the book, The Four Agreements. He was saying, basically, don't let anyone put you on a pedestal.
Yes.
So it's one thing to say, I don't care about what people think of me when they're trying to talk bad about you. But in some degree, you shouldn't care what people think when they're talking good about you either, because you're letting them control your narrative.
Exactly.
And just like they put you on the pedestal, they'll take you down and go on to the next thing.
Absolutely. You can't let them take you too far up or too far down. So like we said, social media creates unrealistic standards.
And I want y'all to remember, comparison steals your peace.
Yes.
It steals your peace because you can't rest for worried about how you compare to someone else. So we talked earlier about successful and what being successful means. The problem is that each person can set their own definition of success, but we are inundated with society's definition of success. So instead of being true to yourself, your version of success may be that I have a career that pays a moderate income that allows me to do the things that I want to do, but have time freedom. Where someone else may want the career with the super high income, but they are willing to forego time freedom. Well, if that's what each individual defined, then both individuals are successful.
Right.
But we let society tell us instead of us telling society what success is.
That's true. I'm going to tell you something. I learned a while back. I can't remember what book I read. I want to say it was, what was the precursor to Think and Grow Rich?
The Law of Success.
The Law of Success. I think it was that book right there where I read the definition of success given by that book, and that changed the way I can almost say it changed my life. And I remember it to a T. And what it says is that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. All right, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success, and when I finally internalized that definition, it made me understand there is no destination called success.
Right.
There's no Facebook post. There's no job. There's no vacation. There's no income level called success. What success is when you come up with a goal and you start working toward that goal. The day you start working towards it, you are successful.
You're already successful.
Now, when you get to the goal, you'll get your accolades. You'll get all your pats on the back, your attaboys and all that. But as long as you are striving for a goal, you're already successful.
Right.
But again, if you don't understand that, then you're going to fall into these traps of trying to look successful. And again, it's day one. You know what I'm saying?
And what people are doing to do that, they're practically financing their whole lives.
Right.
Like in today's culture, you literally can live your whole life on subscription, never owning anything, but appearing to own everything.
Right.
But 20 years down the road, what do you have?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You didn't own nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. And so people end up feeling embarrassed because their life don't look successful, right? Not that they're not really, they don't care if they are or they're not, but the fact that I don't look successful, they feel embarrassed about it. Yeah. Again, that sets up the perfect breeding ground for this burnout that we're going to talk about a little more in the upcoming segments. But
quickly, do you think there's extra pressure if you're in your 40s and 50s?
Absolutely. I remember when I turned 40, I remember right before I turned 40 actually, that was a time when innately you start to, well, I can speak for me. I started to reflect back on what I had done, And then mentally, you're like, okay, maybe I'm about the halfway mark. So you're thinking, okay, I was thinking, I didn't get this done. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. And then you start thinking, well, how much time I got in front of me? You know, and can I get all these things done? And then you start putting all this pressure. I was putting all this pressure on myself, again, because of this list that I created. You know, so yeah, absolutely, you feel more pressure.
So a lot of people actually fear being seen as struggling, and I was thinking about that. And the thing is, I don't necessarily think that you should go up to somebody and run down like all of your struggles and your entire life to everybody that you meet. But there is power and support in finding common ground with other people and saying, yes, I had this struggle too, instead of trying to portray this perfect life. Because everybody, if you don't share your struggles with other people, everybody is just trying to keep up with this avatar that doesn't really exist.
That's true. That's true. You know, and it makes you really start to wonder, or you should be wondering, are we really building wealth, or are we performing success? Those two are not the same. So they're not the same. When we come back, one of the things I want us to talk about, we're actually going to bring somebody in and just get their take on it, is have you ever taken an expensive trip knowing you should have kept your butt at home? Knowing you should have kept your butt home. And I'm going to tell you about me personally, I detest traveling on a budget.
I do too.
If I gotta go out of town, I gotta be watching every penny. I just rather not go. I hate traveling on the budget. But when we come back, we're gonna ask somebody a question. Have you ever gone out of town when you know you doggone well you should have stayed home? Y'all stay with us through this break. We'll be right back. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Today's episode is sponsored by P3 Financial Group, where we enrich the lives of our clients by helping them plan, protect, and prosper. Call P3 for all your tax and financial planning needs at 901-209-4015. That's 901-209-4015.
And we're back. This is the Elevate Podcast from Burnout to Bliss with your hosts, Reginald and Ebony Clark. And today we are talking about the cost of keeping up appearances.
That's right.
Before the break, Reggie let you in on a question that we were going to ask one of our guests. This is one of those funny but real questions.
Oh, so the question was, and I'm going to set it up a little bit. So the question was, have you ever taken a trip when you know you should have stayed at home? Before our guest answers.
Financially.
You know you should have stayed home, not because the people you didn't really like them. That's a whole nother segment. But I mentioned to the audience, I said, man, look, I hate traveling on a budget. And the reason I hate traveling on a budget is because I've done it before. It just, for me, it ruins the whole trip. Because the whole time I'm thinking, okay, I can't buy this, I shouldn't do that, and don't do this, and can't do that. And then I'm knowing when I get home, I got to still pay for all the things that I couldn't do that I did do. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just hate it. I've been there, done that. Not fun. But so I won't give our guest's name, but y'all may catch the voice. So have you ever traveled? You ever traveled and you know you should have stayed at home?
Yes, absolutely.
How did it go? Where'd y'all go, first of all?
We went to Las Vegas.
Okay.
And it was a girls' trip.
That's probably not the best place to go. Las Vegas.
Definitely not.
Las Vegas is expensive.
Is it expensive?
Yes.
Very. Not, y'all. I've never been.
But I've heard that it's super expensive.
Okay.
It's very expensive. The cost of living is very high. It never sleeps.
Yeah.
It's always something going on throughout the whole 24 hours out of the day. But it was a girls' trip, and I agreed to it. And once I agree, I don't like to go back off of that. So I'm like, okay, I can do it. But the whole time I'm looking at my friend, she does a whole itinerary for the entire time. So I'm looking at the itinerary like, which one of these am I not going to participate in?
That's no fun.
And it is. It's stressful, and you're right, Daddy, when...
See, you just told me.
I know. Sorry. Oops. It's all right. But you're right. I don't want to travel and be on a budget. You just want to be free and do whatever you please to do. So, yes, it was Las Vegas, and I chose not to do one of the things on the itinerary.
So let me ask you this. But when you decided to go, I know you said you didn't want to go back on because I agreed to it. All the girls are going. Did you feel pressure to even to go, even though you in the back of your mind you're saying, I really probably shouldn't.
Yes, and one of the main reasons why I chose to still push through was because it was one of those things where we stayed at an Airbnb and we started making payments. So I'm like, okay, if I bag out of this, they're going to be looking at me like, why didn't you just bag out at first?
Right, why didn't you just say no
right.
at the beginning?
From the beginning.
So once I got deep into it, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and go. I've already paid my part.
Yeah.
And it probably is a little more difficult when you're traveling with an unrelated group, like not your family, because it's somebody else that may be planning the trip.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you don't have complete control.
Exactly.
And y'all know how much I love to travel, more than... not God and family, but y'all know I love
Right.
to travel. But I think the answer is not to not travel. It's just to choose destinations and trips that fit within your budget, so you can still go without feeling like you're on a budget.
Right.
Right. And so Eb said something when we took a break, and I said I hate traveling on a budget. You clarified it. Give them that clarification because that does make sense.
So I don't like traveling on a budget, but I travel with a budget. So what that means is ahead of time, I'm looking to find the best dates based on where we want to go, the best rate for the type of hotel that we want to stay in, the best airline. So should I fly Delta? Should I fly American based on the times? So we've established a budget for the trip, but we're not on a budget.
But
when
when
we
I get
there,
there,
I get to do the things that I want to do without thinking about money.
And I'd rather just, again, if I got to miss this vacation to go on that one, or miss that one and this one to go on one down the road, so I don't have to be stressed like that, I'd rather do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you can always pivot. I know this ain't a vacation show, but if
Right.
flights are super high on a weekend you wanted to go somewhere, take a road trip.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I will say since then, our friend group, we have what has been better for us is planning in the longer time period because that was a kind of a last minute type deal where we planned it in maybe 5 months.
Okay.
Versus the next trips we took after that, it was like 7 or 8 months or to a year.
Yeah.
And when we paid it off, by the time we got to the trip, it was nothing to pay for other than our extra stuff that we wanted to do. Everything
There you
else
go.
was paid for.
So planning reduces anxiety.
It
Absolutely.
does, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for
Thank
sitting
you,
in
Ray.
with us, and
Yes, you're
we'll
welcome.
be sure to check yourself out on that. All right. Yeah, that was pretty good right there, Ray.
That was.
But so that conversation, what it made me think about, again, from the burnout, the financial side of it, is oftentimes that pressure that we put up, that we sometimes put on ourselves, that other people put on us, can lead to the financial side.
Right.
Mainly credit card debt is a big one. Because here's the thing I want y'all to understand. Once you use more than 30% of what's available to you, even if you're paying your credit card on time, you're going to see your credit scores dropping. That's because the creditor understands, and you're carrying that balance from month to month. So if you use 100% but you're paying off, this doesn't apply to you. But if you use more than 30% and you're carrying that balance from month to month, the creditor understands that, hey, this person is using this as income.
Right.
Income must be shallow, versus the debt load. So therefore, the credit score starts to drop.
So I'm going to say that another way,
Go ahead,
a non-financial way.
Okay.
Basically, you say income shallow versus debt low. You're not making enough money
Right. There you
to
go.
cover your debt.
Or you're just spending too much.
Or you're spending too much money.
Yeah. And you talk about spending too much, that takes me to my next point, lifestyle inflation. Now, inflation, y'all know, is the constant rise of goods and services. What is lifestyle inflation? Lifestyle inflation is when a person's spending increases as their income increases.
The more people make, the more pressure they have to spend.
There you go. So instead of using a raise or a bonus, or your business is growing to pay off debt or invest or gradually upgrade your lifestyle, often realizing how much the expenses have grown, people will sometimes just I'm making $10,000 more a year, and now they're spending $12,000 more. So that's lifestyle inflation.
And this is one of the biggest wealth killers.
Oh, it is.
Because
It is.
instead of you taking the excess money because you're now making more and putting it towards something that can build wealth,
Right.
you're spending it on lifestyle.
That's exactly right.
And you're not accumulating anything.
And this is how, so people wonder how a person can be making, $100,000, $200,000. I've seen $300,000 annual income from one person. I'm not talking about the whole house. One person, and still living check to check. still living check to check.
Yep.
I've seen it. This is how that happens. And this is also why you can get a raise and don't feel like you got a raise. Because you keep allowing lifestyle creep, lifestyle inflation. You keep allowing it to happen.
Nearly 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes many high-income earners.
Yeah. Just because a person is making, just because you are making a lot of money, and a lot, the term a lot is relative, right? Whatever it is you're making, double it up. It doesn't matter if you don't control your spending.
Right.
That's what people got to understand. And then, so what we're talking about today, you can't let appearances, especially the appearances of success, control your spending. And that's what we're talking about today.
And a key for me is balance. So you don't need to spend it all and you don't need to save it all. There has to be balance. If you save it all, you're going to feel like you're missing out on something. If you spend it all, you're not going to have anything.
Right.
So you got to find that balance. If you don't do that, you're delaying your financial freedom.
Absolutely. So we're talking about right now specifically, guys, the financial consequences of, keeping up appearances, but there's also emotional consequences. And I want to talk about that for just a second. Name of this podcast is Burnout to Bliss. So we're talking about the burnout. I want to talk about this burnout.
Yes.
When we talk about burnout, it's really an emotion, right? It's a feeling. So what causes the burnout as it relates to keeping up appearances? Well, eventually, keeping up appearances lead to burnout because it requires constant emotional, financial, and mental energy to maintain an image that does not match reality. That's the truth. That's why it causes people to burn out, because you gotta spend so much mental energy on you gotta swipe, and you sitting there sweating, worried about whether or not the swipe gonna go through.
Right.
You making eye contact with the waiter across the room with big eyes, hoping he or she gives you a sign and say, hey, it went through, it didn't go through. You know what I'm saying? So it's that pressure to maintain that image.
Trying to capture those moments to appear perfect and post them.
There you go, exactly. So, overspending, that's back on the financial side, but the financial strain, the burden of carrying that does lead to that burnout, emotional exhaustion, pretending everything is okay when it's not. The fake laugh, the kicking back in the chair, blowing smoke in the air, all of that, when doggone well you ain't got it like that. But having to put up with that, having to maintain this facade, I'm telling you, it's taking very precious energy from you, man. Yep. The comparisons never end. You end up losing your identity, no room for rest. And at the end of the day, your biggest fear becomes, what happens if I'm exposed?
Wow.
And I'm telling you, all of that is taking an emotional toll when you could just do it differently. All right? You could just do it differently.
You were talking about what if I'm exposed? That can lead to depression.
Yeah.
Because you're continually comparing yourself to other people. And then sometimes, unfortunately, even suicide.
Yeah.
Because you can't bear to think what other people are going to think if you're exposed and that curtain is pulled back and people can see you for who you really are.
You say that, and I know all too well, very personally, people I can think of right now who are no longer with us because of exactly what we're talking about. Just the overall burden of what other people think.
Right.
Of what other people think. And then you're trying to live up to this, man.
And you put your own self-worth and almost fooled yourself into thinking that you are who you're posting. Yeah. You're not that. That's an avatar that you've created. You are who you are, and who you are is enough. Exactly. So this thing gets deep.
It really does. So there's another part of the emotional side of this that I want to explore, and that is this constant nag of feeling behind. And again, this feeling, it's emotional, so it's a feeling. This feeling behind is typically generated, again, by these false narratives that you see typically on social media, sometimes television, or whatever the case may be. But here's something that I want to identify. This is something I've seen probably a little more with the generation or two behind us than maybe even with our generation ourselves. I'm thinking specifically of this one client that I have. And I remember when this person first became my client, they was fresh out of college, doing very well, early to mid 20s. Making what I call grown folk money. The first thing this person expressed to me was how behind they are, and I'm like, behind what? Right. You fresh out of school. What are we talking about? But they were like, my because this person had to go to like I know they're in the medical field, so they had additional schooling that they had to do, while some of their college peers were able to just hit the ground right out of
and
college.
go straight into their
So
career.
and I said, so what are you basing it off of? And they were talking about, they went on this trip and they did this and da. Again, this person's looking at what everybody was doing,
Right.
and summarize, I'm behind. Mm-hmm. You're not behind. You're running your own race.
Right.
How can you be behind a one-person race?
That's not
You're the
possible.
only one in the race.
Right.
You're running against yourself. It's impossible to be behind unless you mentally lined all these people up against you. Mm-hmm. And so this feeling behind, y'all, you got to rationalize that thing and say, this is my race. I'm running my course. Mm-hmm. All right? I'm not running against anybody, but it's you versus you. It's not you versus your graduating class. All right?
And people at any age feel like this.
Yeah.
This isn't a 40s and 50s thing. This isn't a early 20s thing. I've talked to people at various ages that have this feeling of being behind, and they may not even think that it's attributed to society or social media, but subconsciously it is, because you have to have a measuring rod.
Exactly.
So you have to evaluate, what is my measuring rod to make me feel like this?
That's good stuff. So, people often also attach their self-worth. We're talking about their self-worth being defined by what other people think. Mm-hmm. There's one more thing, I hope I got time to squeeze it in, that people attach their self-worth to, and that's material things.
Yes.
People do this because society frequently teaches us, directly and indirectly, that success, importance, and value are all visible. Mm-hmm. We got to see it. Mm-hmm. And this goes back. Oftentimes, why people would dress well beyond their means to make people think they, have arrived, if you will. The car that they drive, there was a time there was a status. Well, I guess it may still be a status.
It still is.
And I don't want to go into all that, but I'm so glad I got the taste for new cars out of my system. Mm-hmm. That is not something that motivates me anymore. Mainly because they're a depreciating asset.
Right.
Every day you drive it, it's worth less than it was the day before. But anyway, so it still is a status symbol, but we got to grow beyond the point where your worth, your self-worth, is attached to the things that you have. Because guess what? When you leave this world, those things are going to still be sitting around. Mm-hmm. Those things are going to still be sitting around for other people to use. I like good things. I like good stuff. I like high quality stuff. Mm-hmm. But I understand one thing about it. It's just for my enjoyment and other people to enjoy while we're here.
While we're here.
Can't take this stuff with you. The Egyptians already tried that in tombs. It didn't work. People dug it up and stole it. So enjoy it while you're here, but it's just things. It's not you. It doesn't represent what you're worth to the world. All right, guys, stay with us through this break. We'll be right back. Remember, it's time to elevate.
This episode of the Elevate Podcast is brought to you by P3 Wealth Management, a registered investment advisory firm registered in the state of Tennessee. Whether you're investing, preparing for retirement, or creating a lasting legacy, our team is here to guide you every step of the way. At P3 Wealth Management, we turn your financial goals into a strategy, so you can focus on living the life you worked hard for. Visit p3wealth.com.
And we are back. You're here with Reginald and Ebony Clark with the Elevate Podcast, and today we've been talking about the cost of keeping up appearances. In the first segment, we looked at the pressure to look successful. If you missed that segment, make sure you go back and catch us on the replay. Mm-hmm. The pressure to look successful. In the second segment, we talked about the emotional and financial toll that this takes. It takes an emotional and financial toll, y'all. I'm telling you, it's costing a lot of you all a lot.
Yes.
To keep these facades going. We're in the last segment right now, and so what we did, we actually bringing another person in just to get their take on this thing. I'm going to kick it over to Mahogany. I asked her a question. I said, Mahogany, what has created more pressure for you? Do you think it's been from social media, family expectations, or personal pride? How would you answer that?
So, hello everyone.
Hey,
Mahogany.
So, I would say it's been different for every facet of my life.
Okay.
I would say at this age, it's definitely social media.
Really?
If you were to talk to me about 10 years ago, being in college, it was family expectations.
Okay.
I don't think personal pride has ever been a pressure for me.
Okay.
So it's a toss-up between social media and family expectations. But right now, I would definitely say social media, because social media is all around me.
Right.
I'm very active in social media, or at least consuming it.
Let me ask you, what platform in particular?
TikTok.
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 Okay.
Okay.
TikTok, sometimes Instagram, sometimes Facebook, but I say for the most part it's TikTok.
Okay.
I would say the pressures that I get, because then I could break it down like to like the specific areas of my life. And I know with TikTok, it is this fear of missing out. I see everyone around my age traveling, buying homes, starting families, getting married, things of that nature.
Right.
So I would say, you know, I definitely have some sort of FOMO when I'm interacting or looking at videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think with Instagram, it's more so vanity.
Okay.
How I'm being perceived or perception. On Instagram, of course, it's picture based.
Right.
So you'll see people looking their best.
Right.
And I think that influences me on my day-to-day life, on like health, like how am I looking, how I perceive myself in the mirror, comparing myself to other women, things of that nature.
Do you think that you're doing a good job navigating these pressures?
I think it takes like me. I have to. How can I say this? Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes if I'm on it for an extended period of time, I do start to feel bad about myself. Like
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like I'm sitting there scrolling through beautiful people, and it's just a habit. I don't think you can get out of comparing yourself when you are indulging in social media. And so, yeah, if I'm there for an extended period of time and I'm just looking, then yeah, I start to feel down about myself because I'm looking at thousands of people who look good, and I start to nitpick at myself.
And statistics show that most people do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's almost designed that way. But the thing is, and I know you, so I know that you can rationalize that this is a snapshot, just one moment in time.
Right.
But when you're constantly seeing the same images over and over again, it's hard to remember the reality that you know exists behind it. It took them 4 hours
to get that
to
one
look
picture.
like that.
Yes. I mean,
And they took the
tons
picture.
of Photoshop.
Right, and they took the picture, filter,
Angles,
the angle,
lighting.
took it 15 times,
Yes.
maybe 20 times, and that's the one you saw though.
Yes.
Yeah, so, it's not real. It's
Which
not
then
real.
goes into validation.
Right.
You want that validation. So
Right.
I think with Instagram, I'm not one to really upload things a lot. But when I do, or when I'm in that mode of wanting to upload pictures or videos of myself, I just become so conscious. Like I start to become that person. Like, is the angle right? Is the lighting right? And then, am I receiving the feedback that I want from those photos
The
and
likes
videos?
and the comments.
Yeah, that really
Engagement.
affects.
I have I'm not going to say it on the air, but I have a name for it. People who seek that out specifically, the engagement, the likes, and will post anything.
Oh, she calls them like whores.
I
say it
do.
for you. I'll say it
If
for
you post anything just to get likes and engagement, yes, I do call you a like whore.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people like that. But I do think a big part of it is because you want to feel good and you want people to see you in that light, and you just like that. People like validation, being admired, admiration, all that good stuff. But then a part of it is also it's making money too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Engagement, sales.
Exactly.
I mean, it makes you money. Yeah.
So that's a very interesting take, you all, and I'm really glad you came and shared that with us, Mahogany, because again, these pressures that we put on ourselves, or we allow people to put on us. Sometimes we put it on ourselves. Sometimes we allow people to put it on us. They can lead you down a very dark path of with your finances, and it can go beyond that. We talking about the emotional toll. We just talked about that, but it can go beyond just the finances. It can really, 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 really take you somewhere you don't want to go.
And I have to do a plug because we have children, and specifically 2 of the 3 are teenage girls who are trying to come into their own knowledge and their own view of themselves. Y'all watch your kids on social media.
Please.
If a good grown adult who has had time to mature and learn who they are can still question who they are based on the images that they see on social media, how much more do you think a teenage girl who's already self-conscious is affected by social media images? So please,
impressionable.
y'all.
Yeah, we made our kids wait Well, our youngest still doesn't have any social media accounts, and I don't think she has a secret account. But we made the middle girl. I think how was she for 16?
16.
Yeah, we made her wait to 16, and even that, of course, we monitored as best we can because it's a very dangerous ground.
It is,
and we limited the number. Like you can't be on every platform.
Yeah,
nah, you better choose the one you like the most. And we watching that joke with her.
Yeah, and it's good to take away. I think a lot of people, especially around my age, they just do not know how to put it down.
Right.
I mean, their whole being is social media. Yeah.
It's not reality. But Mahogany, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
sitting in
Mahogany.
with us.
You're
I
very
appreciate your
welcome.
input. Thank you again. So like Mahogany was talking about, what created the most pressure for her, family, social media,
Internal pressure.
internal pressure. So right now, again, in this last segment, we're talking about living more authentically and basically redefining success, because you all are not going to be successful if you don't change some of the things that you're doing. It's just that simple. And to redefine success, we got to stop spending money to impress other people.
We do.
We
We
gotta
definitely
stop.
do.
We got to stop it. So what's some of the ways, Eb, that people are spending money just to impress folk that don't like you no way?
Cars, designer bags, birthday parties, weddings, shoes, vacations, bottles or sections in the club,
I know you popping bottles. Go ahead.
kids' activities, luxury apartments, fancy homes, things like that.
Yep. So y'all go ahead.
Yeah, we got Kay here to get her input on what's one thing you think that people spend too much money on.
Exactly. What's
to
something
impress
you've
others?
seen people spend a lot of money on, mainly to impress other folk?
I would go with the, I heard Eb say the cars and bags and parties, and I've seen people spend a lot of money on these proms.
Ooh, prom season.
Proms, they spend money as if they're about to get married. But to each his own on that. I get it, but that's a lot to impress people, and you have all these things, and then after it's over with,
What you got?
nothing.
Right.
Nothing
So,
to show for it.
I wouldn't say, well, it's kind of to each his own. We all spend our money some kind of way. But to Kay's point, man, that's an excellent one, Kay, because you got to look at it in terms of what did you spend versus what your overall income is. So if I make, $2,000 a month, then I probably shouldn't be spending $1,000 on a dress.
No,
Right.
not
I'll
at
spend
all.
50% of my monthly income on a darn dress. But if I
Right.
make, $100,000 a month, then that's different. You
And
know
the
what I'm
motive behind it. Like, are you doing
Yes,
it because
yes.
you just really want to do something nice for your kid, whether they
Right.
are a good kid or they may have had a hard time and you just want to show them a special moment?
Right.
Or are you truly doing it to impress people? You may say that it's for you or for the kid, but deep down inside it's to impress people.
If it's for you, for the kid, why you posting it for us?
Right. And why so much of has to be on social media.
Right.
Why you have to put the spotlight on just one particular thing when it's several accomplishments that they've had, and
Right.
you didn't celebrate them as much. But it seems like when one person does it, then it's just a trend after that.
There
It's
you
a
go.
trend going.
You got to be bigger than the last post.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they do.
I know somebody that was talking about getting a helicopter
Show
for
up.
their kid for prom.
Yes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Sure
prom! This is just prom.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's not like wedding. It's not like this is two people coming together to become one.
Right.
This is sometimes it be just like middle school proms, and it's not even the high school proms. They're not. They going to high school. I mean, so that's and those that money like that should be. I say you should finance it in college funds. Or
Right.
you
There
can
you
put
go.
it worth
There you
something that you can see it in the end.
To your point, I know of someone
I know you was going to say that. That's exactly what I was about to say.
spent $1,200, and this is probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10, 15 years
So
ago.
$1,200 different now than it was. It was a lot more money 10 years ago. But they spent $1,200 on their daughter's prom dress.
Sure did.
But the daughter needed like $2,000 to go to college, and she said no. She had to figure it out on her own.
But yeah, she said, I ain't got it. You got to figure it out on your own. But you don't. But you went hard.
Oh my goodness,
For the
no.
prom dress.
No.
No, we got to. I don't know. I'm not gonna say this just a cultural thing with us, but we got to do better, man. We got to do better. And again, if you, we're not sitting in a seat of judgment saying, hey,
By no means.
that's not what we're doing. But I am sitting in the seat of good financial decisions.
Right.
That's right.
And what I'm telling you is you need to look at what you're spending versus how much you make. Because again, you spending $1,000 for a prom dress may not be the same as another person spending $1,000. The difference is how much do you make? How much of your income did that take up?
Right.
Versus you. Really, it ain't about nobody else. Hell, it's about you.
Right.
How much of your income did it take up?
And hopefully you didn't finance it. If you got to
Oh,
finance
my
a prom
goodness.
send-off, you don't need to have a prom
If you
send-off.
borrow money for a prom send-off, man, just smack yourself on the back of the neck, pay it off, and go and send no more. Don't do that.
Or taking out loans.
That's what I'm saying.
Just
Don't
to get
do
this
that.
done.
Don't do that.
It's not worth it.
Because now you're doing it to impress other folk, man. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, thank you for joining us for this.
Yeah.
Great
No
input.
problem.
I actually had thought about that one because that's a really good one.
Oh, yeah, that
And
prom.
it's fresh in all our minds right now.
Yes.
It is fresh, y'all. But we do all these things. The cost of keeping up appearances is taking us down. It's
Yes.
taking us down, and we got to stop it. All right, y'all. So the time we have left, we never going to leave you with just, identifying a problem. We're going to give you some practical steps toward correcting the problem. And one of the best ways to do that first is creating financial goals based off of your values.
Yes.
Your values. I'm going to ask a question. Do you even know what your values are? If I ask you to write down 10 values that actually guide your life, how long would it take you to write those down?
That's a good
Have you
question.
even thought about what are your values? But once you identify that, create financial goals that's based on your values, not what other people think.
Yeah, and stop comparing timelines.
Yes.
Everyone is running a separate race, not the same race. So you don't have to look at where someone is in their timeline to determine where you should be. You have your own.
That's right. Again, it's you versus you. Here's another one. I want you to normalize saying this right here. That's not in my budget. All right? That's not in my budget. And your guiding underlying thought should be, I don't need to impress anybody. Here's the thing. If it's somebody that you feel a need to impress, then you probably don't need that person around you.
I agree.
The people that's closest to me, I don't have to impress them.
I agree.
If I feel like I got to impress somebody, then I don't want them around me.
Right. Spend intentionally. So just don't go all haphazardly spending. Determine what you want to spend your money on and do that intentionally.
Exactly. Remember, real wealth is built quietly. Okay? You don't have to announce to the world what you're doing. Real wealth is built quietly.
And monitor your social media consumption.
Yes.
Your phone doesn't have to stay in your hand. Do some self-searching and self-realization on when the images on social media are getting to be too much. If it's making you feel bad, put your phone down.
Yeah. So as we close this thing out, guys, I just want y'all to remember this. The goal is not to look successful. The goal is to actually build a life that makes you feel good when nobody's watching. That's your goal. That's what you want to do. So keeping up these appearances is costing us. It's costing you a lot. It's costing you way more than just the money. It's costing you a whole lot.
And if keeping up appearances is costing you your peace, finances, health, or joy, then the price is just too high.
Yes,
way too high.
Man, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, all right, Ed, we got to go ahead and sign off of here. I'm telling people, so y'all, if you ever need to reach us, you can reach me, both of us actually, at 901-209-4015. Again, we take care of all your finances. Well, not all your finances, but particularly the investment piece, retirement, insurances. Ed got you on the tax and accounting side. But you can reach us for those professional services at 901-209-4015.
Yes, and on social media, I'm at Eb the Advisor, and Reggie's at The Money Jedi.
All right, guys, remember to keep it locked right here on Power 104.1, The Source. We'll be back with you this time next week at 1 o'clock. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Hey, Elevate fam. Are you a business or brand looking to get in front of an audience that's all about leveling up in life, business, and mindset? Then let's partner up. The Elevate podcast is now accepting sponsors. That means you can get your brand heard by a growing community of go-getters, creatives, and purpose-driven listeners right here on the show. Whether it's a product shout-out, an ad spot, or a custom collaboration, we've got options for you. Want in? Hit us up at elevatenowtraining.com. Let's elevate together.